everybody, welcome to the channel. So this is a bit of an unusual video. We have scheduled in the next couple of weeks a training against Team France. We just did the pairing. I got my matchup for this round, so it's a training 8 against 8 on Warhall. And basically I thought for this type of, I thought I could share with you what I'm doing for this type of training. When I have some time to prepare, I try to do a deep analysis before the game. Just try to, put a little bit what are my thoughts on, sometimes on a bit on paper, sometimes I do some simulation on Warhol. And I thought, why not one time show you on a live video what kind of preparation I do sometimes when I have enough time to do it. And since I have, I can show you a little bit what I'm thinking, what basically are the different steps that I'm doing when I know what I'm going to play against, which can be a help for you if you have this type of game where you can prepare in advance. Strongly recommend you to do it. I think you're going to learn a lot from it, and basically you can compare your pre-game analysis, typically the type of things that I do in my battle report, with your post-game analysis. What was right, what was wrong, and so on. So let me display first of all the two lists. This is my list, so it's basically more or less what I've been playing in the recent couple of weeks. This time I'm just bringing a cheap commissioner instead of a big one. I kept the 2 anointed unit in special, kept the 2 warrior unit in core. The character setup is more or less the same, and then I decided to bring out this time citizen giant, but you know more or less the list. My opponent is playing the following list, so it's a UD player. He's playing a Pharaoh, the cowboy, the typical one, so Destiny's Call, +1 health point, no flammable, and he has the Godslayer. Then he has Master Divination, Adept Evocation. He has the Tomb Harbinger, who is the BSB with the 2-up, and the Crown of the Wizard King. He has then a Nomarch General with the Crown of the Pharaoh. So nice to get 2 mages to boost the divination. I think it's really good in the list, and yeah, the March 18, I think it's always nice. Then you have a 4-scoring unit, so 1 big block of Skeleton with Spear with a Relentless Banner, and 1 big block of Necropolis Guard with also Relentless Banner. They are paired weapon. And then he has some weaker scoring, you could say. One of them is the Entombed, which I think is an amazing scoring on some secondary objective. And the second one are the Skeleton Archer, which is basically a mage bunker, but also with a Relentless Company. Then he has a chaff piece and the 3 Sphinx. So the first thing I did, and you can also recognize it from the notes I've taken, is first of all try to understand what is in the list, checking with the army book the stuff that I'm not 100% sure about. I also try to write it down because I've basically identified with the time that when I'm writing down stuff, it basically gets saved in my memory faster. So that's something I try to do, and also it's some notes that I can check during the battle as well. Can be useful. I'm doing it here on screen, but I'm also doing it when I'm playing at the table, taking some notes early in the game on my little sheet, and then I have some notes, for example, especially character build, before taking any challenge and so on. I like to know exactly what they do, so I try to sum up a little bit what he's doing his list, to be sure that with this page I know everything that's in the list and I have no surprise. So I think that's key. Then I highlighted the things that are a bit special here, the 3 Relentless Company and the Entombed. So basically making the 4 infantry block a bit unpredictable for infantry. 3 of them have March 15 and 1 of them is coming in ambush. So this is definitely unusual. It's all his scoring unit. Then I mark down the chaff. Or at least designated chaff. Everything can become chaff, but a designated chaff is 1 unit of scout, which is not that much. The skeleton scout, one of them for UD is not that much. And then we have what's left, basically the 3 Sphinx, which is the main battle force, plus the Pharaoh. So it's 4 single model that do a lot, and the rest will be more or less stable in the blocks, giving some buffs and doing magic from the mage bunker. So we know now that we have basically got a good understanding of what's in the list of my opponent and what are my tools. Let's move on to Warhall. So this is how it's looking like. Just picked a random map. We are playing Marching Column and Breakthrough. Both of us have 4 scoring unit. And Marching Column, I think, is very interesting. This is also one of the reasons I wanted to share it with you, because I think the configuration of the match make it very exciting to discuss. And we will see if my predictions are true or not. Basically, I'm going to release this video shortly before the battle report, so it's going to be very interesting for you to see what was accurate, what was not. So I generate the list here. I didn't take all the character in the back, doesn't matter much for the simulation. Here you have the ambush unit. And in the front, basically, we have the skeleton, the big skeleton block, which I think I expect to see them 5 wide. Then the Necropolis, most likely in a horde formation. Then we have Dren Sphinx and 2 normal Sphinx, plus the small unit of archers going most likely to be very wide in the back to basically shoot as much as they can, probably 13 wide. And we have the fast cap. And on my side, you see my army here at the bottom. So the first thing we can think about is we're playing Breakthrough. Both of us have, I think, similar amount of unit of drops and similar amount of scoring unit. In this case, do I have an advantage to drop for first turn? I think the first consideration could be marching column. You're often quite happy to drop for first turn because you know 1/3 or almost half of the opponent's army. Yeah, in this case, half of the opponent's army. So it could be worth it to see a lot of his unit and then still be able to start first turn. I think here what's key to take into configuration is the fact that we're playing Breakthrough. Plus, you need to ask yourself always 2 questions before analyzing a game. Also, if you don't have much time. The first one is who's winning from range, and the second one is who's winning in close combat. I'm not sure about both since it's not a matchup I tested yet. I would say that range-wise, we are not so likely to do a lot from each other. I mean, he can kill the Kadim Titan with Divination for sure. I can also, since I'm moving 14, I can make sure that he doesn't get it. And other than that, it's not going to be so easy to take points from my list from distance. On my side, I have Evocation, I have Occultism, excuse me, and I have also some shots and stuff. So I could potentially kill a unit or 2 from distance, but not that much. So I could win it maybe 11 or 12 from distance, but not that much. I would say I'm slightly better from distance. And then close combat wise, I have the feeling it's slightly better than me. Basically, I don't have a lot of tools to deal with the 3 Sphinxes. I have this unit can get reroll to wound, this unit can get reroll to wound, and mainly I have the Titan who is really good in the matchup, but at the same time is kind of neutralized by his Divination. So not so easy. For me, I have a crush attack here, and I have Occultist to get rid of them. The infantry block, on the other hand, are not that problematic, I would say. The spear guy, yeah, it's a lot of them, so I won't be steadfast, but I shouldn't lose combat in a 1-1 battle. It's more the fact that I could get stuck very long time. The Necropolis Guard depends how much of them are in combat and who gets the charge. I think the Anointed, if I get the charge against them, I have a very good chance of killing them in 1 or 2 rounds. And then the last problematic piece could be the Pharaoh, who basically, since I have conditional Aegis on almost all my army, gets a multi-wound 2 against pretty much everything. And as you can see, I have multi-wound stuff like it's almost all my army. So it's not so easy to also get rid of the Pharaoh that can hide in a unit that can go out. I won't bother you too much about spell selection. Here I think we can also talk about it, but it's less interesting. Let's talk a bit about deployment. So here, I think most likely I wouldn't want to start to deploy, even if I'm losing the side. Let's say you want to roll for side, pick this side, I pick this side. Let's say I would want to, I would try to start to deploy. Let's see how that goes. So the first question is, what do I drop first? Which side do I want to start? So the left flank with an Impassable is not so good for my army to play compact around. I have nothing that can go really through it. So it's not perfect. So I would most likely try to be rather strong right. So then if I start on the right, basically I cannot place the Titan because then he could just face me with a Dread Sphinx, which is a perfect counter. Could make my life easier. Obviously, the Titan could kill it, but it's still not the perfect matchup I want to. It could also very easily then see where to place the Pharaoh. So I have a first struggle. What do I start with? If I just place a Giant, who is a flexible piece that can move very well Good lateral movement, but still it's only strength 5, not a lot of attack. So if I place Giant down, he just had to put a Sphinx, and my first drop is basically neutralized. And then the second question will be, yeah, what do I do after that? I cannot place any anointed unit because they are kind of blocked of the Sphinx. I could put the strong unit, could be a move, but still not going to be so easy. And then again, he can bring the Pharaoh later, and it's not the type of matchup that I want. So we see already from the first couple of drops, I'm struggling to basically get good matchups, and I'm going to be very frontal. And do I really want a frontal battle? Basically him against me in the front line? Not really, because we're playing Breakthrough. So I have no basically interest into taking this type of risk of a frontal battle. Not sure who is going to win in a frontal battle. I have the feeling that if I don't engage in a frontal way, I have better odds of winning this battle. So it's all about risk management here. So basically, as we can see, if I start to drop, yeah, it's not easy to get the right matchups because I need to get very special counters. So if you do the opposite and he won the roll for sight and I tell him you can start to deploy. Let's say he expects me to drop rather to the right, so he starts from the right, which I think would be the obvious choice. He put like a Sphinx on the right somewhere, which I think is a good drop. We could also argue that the fast cav could be a good drop to just say, I think it's going to be the first of the second drop. So we could also say fast cav, but I think the fast cav to be all the way to the flank, it's also not perfect because then you need to vanguard and move again. So it could be the fast cav potentially, but let's say he put a Sphinx down. No matter if he puts a fast cav or Sphinx, I would start the opposite way. My thought process here being, I told you I don't want a frontal battle because I think it's not to my advantage here, or at least it's not maximizing my odds of having control of this battle and winning it. So I'm going to start opposite flank, and what would be my first drop? We're playing Breakthrough, going to place an anointed unit. Basically the thought process would be the following. I want to leave enough space to get Titan if I want to, because with the Impossible it could be nice due to divination. So I'm going to place an anointed on the far left, which basically tells him, okay, if you want to manage the anointed, you need to put on the far left either a Sphinx, the Dread Sphinx, or the Pharaoh. You're not going to get rid of them. You're not going to put an infantry here on the far left. And if you do nothing, I'm going to get an easy breakthrough. So it's not going to love that. So basically it makes almost sure that he's going to have a monster on the other part of the battlefield. So I'm starting to put distance between those two Sphinx, which is nice. Then let's assume his second drop is this time the fast cav, which I think it's going to be either the first or the second drop. So let's put the fast cav down. On my side, let me undo with the magnet. On my side, I would most likely, I think, since I'm expecting to have a problem with the Sphinx here, I'm going now to unlock the solution, which would be the Kadim Titan here on the left. Multiple reasons to place it here. First of all, I have a line of sight blocker with this Impossible. There is a low, we could also argue maybe a bit deeper, because I need to check the ranges from divination, how much he can move. So I need to minimize that. So maybe a bit deeper. I'm not sure he would want to take this kind of position, but I don't want to have to use my Binding Scroll turn 1. He gets divination, 18 plus 6, 24, plus moving, yeah, a couple of inch, like 8 maximal. He could also use a Relentless. But maybe I would want to be a bit deeper somewhere here just to tell him, I can charge up to here, which I think is enough. I still want to zone him enough, not that he can push too much. So if he gets like here, I want to get still a good charge. So maybe a bit more to the left, like here to get a free line and then a good charge. So I'm still zoning the left flank, but at the same time, I'm as far away as I can from divination. So if he wants to get within 24, yeah, maybe even a bit deeper, I think would be okay to basically force him to march a lot. And then I need to get here in this part of the map something that's threatening to not make sure that he can get into a safe spot to get divination on the Titan early on. So that's the idea. Okay, let's see my Titan. It is the second drop on the far left. Now it's his turn to play something. What does he do? Most likely he would still expect me to be right side, or if I need to play on the left around Impossible, it's not perfect. So he is most likely, if you consider his drops, he would most likely keep the monster right now. He would, I think, place potentially either the Necropolis Guard, which is a unit for a strong flank, or maybe the bunker in the back. But let's say he put the Necropolis somewhere here on the right, maybe not far right. Or we could argue that he plays the... But since he saw my 2 units on the left, he would keep the double monster to threaten me in the left, and would most likely do something like that. Could also potentially go with the Godslayer on the left, but I think here's a good way to counter an anointed position here. If he puts the Godslayer this way, I can still move away with the Titan 14 to somewhere like here, turn 1. And then those guys can turn around, move away, and then he's basically wasted a lot of resources. So I think he cannot afford to place too many stuff. Most likely, I think he would do something like, I don't know, like the Sphinx here, and on the other part of the ruin, like the Dread Sphinx. I think would be something that makes sense, or the opposite around. Yeah, maybe the flying guy next to the Impassable would be nice. So let's say something like that I think could be expected. And then I would expect still to not play all in the center, but something like coming from a flank and pushing. Since he has Relentless Banner, it's not too much of a deal. And now the question is, yeah, Divination is a bit far away from the action, as you can see, if he does that. If he leaves the right flank open, then he cannot really use the fast cav, so it's also a bit of an issue. I think something like that could be nice for him. Because he hasn't so many units to play on the whole board. Playing in the center would allow me to try to crush one flank. So I think this could be a way, deployment that he could do. And now for me the question would be my third drop. So it would be 1, 2, maybe, yeah, the archer or the third one. Because if I put anything crazy, he can still react with the 2 main block. So let's say he puts the archer on the third drop. My third drop would be most likely... Good question. It's either the slave or the giant, I would say. I cannot place any of the block right now. Maybe the giant, because it's a flexible piece. I can still do what I want. Something around the Impassable, I would say. To not take too much space. Some positioning like that. As I told you, I need a threatening piece looking at the middle in case he plays the Divination. So maybe I would do something like that. And then after that, I think... Like I said, we could expect him to be turn 1 in a position like somewhere here around the hill. So as you can see, he's not losing so much ground. Maybe, yeah, if he switch those two, it's even better with Vanguard and so on. So let's say he did that, it's slightly better. Then as you can see, turn 1, he can be on the hill threatening me. So how do I react to that? Who can take a charge from those guys? Not so easy for me. I have a good way to punish them. It's the Anointed, but I need to avoid to get chaffed. So I think here answer could be, I cannot, if I place the Anointed here, basically could wait a bit more, bring the Sphinx or something, and at some point I would expect to be chaffed and to be in trouble. And I think here the Anointed, they need to be free, not chaffed basically. So I think I would place them somewhere. Maybe those guys, I think here would be not bad at all, because they don't like too much the matchup against Necropolis, but could be annoying for Sphinx due to the Flaming Banner. I would leave a bit of space for the Giant, obviously. Could be something like that, and maybe like closing with the... We would want to avoid him getting the heal too easily, I would say. So maybe something like the slaves need to be in good position. That could be a way to say, okay, at least I want to zone the hill to not give him for free. And here we don't like too much the fact that I would be in the forest. I'm too close from him. So as you can see now, it's still too frontal for me. I need to be more to the left. So here I would need potentially to, I think, get the giant into another position. I don't know. I don't like the fact that I'm not compact enough. So maybe I need like 2 layers. Which could be doable. I think I would want the Bastion to close and the Anointed to be like free in this middle position. It's more about the slave. Where do they go? Could put the slave here, I think, would be a decent spot. And then I can get like Anointed somewhere here, like, and angle them a bit better. And the Bastion somewhere here. I think I would want my magic to be in the central unit at the beginning to get the first kind of spell like Press Weapon, Mark for Doom and so on. I would want most likely the Lamassu to be somewhere also in the middle to get a reroll to wound if I need to against the Sphinx, because basically my plan would be to try to get rid of those guys as soon as possible to be able then to push and also get the breakthrough with some unit. So that could be an idea. I like the fact that I'm able to chaff quickly if I need to. Then I can react with the shooting guys and place also the Anointed in nice position. So that could be a way. Maybe I can even be a bit more compact if the Giant is placed elsewhere. I can even be a bit more compact. Could be nice to just tell him, yeah, it's not going to be so easy if he can get maybe the hill, but to be on the left of this forest, I think it's kind of a nice placement for me to just say, okay, I'm outside of the forest, and here is a piece of chaff, something like that. I kind of like it. Maybe the slave a bit deeper. I don't want to chaff turn 1, so I need to measure the 15 and then still not giving him an easy charge. I want to only be in a position to chaff, but a bit later, and then have time to activate the bastion and stuff. So basically that could be the kind of battle that I would like, with the opportunity of the Anointed to push heavily here, not being scared of being charged in the flank, because I would be bodyguard, having those guys in a counter charge, so I could quite easily, I think, establish here a strong position with the scoring unit, get the Anointed into a nice flanking position where they are far away from the chaff, would be my kind of option. He could obviously use at some point the Godslayer to move around and try to do stuff, but it's up to me then to jump the magic if I need to also threaten this guy, and to at some point maybe move out with the Commissioner to create some traffic in the backline, and maybe even threaten his bunker. I think sometimes like counter-attack could be a nice opportunity, but basically delay the engagement early on, and in the second part of the map, of the game, sorry, if I get rid of one of the Sphinx at least, then I'm in a stronger position where I can get into favored combat. Obviously this Giant, as we just saw, could also be in nice position more to the right, just to tell him, if you push too much, I'm going in the back line. The only problem I have is my third drop here. If I show that those guys are here on the left, I'm stuck. So basically it's only due to the marching column that I need to place the Giant somewhere here, I think, which I don't like that much, but I don't have so many options to get a third drop that is very flexible. I want to tell him that I can move away with 2 single model and have those guys turn around, move away if I need to. So still having the possibility to do what I want after the third drop. So basically, yeah, that's my thought process. Obviously, my opponent could do more or less the same and tell me you can start to deploy and stuff. If I forced to start, I would choose, at least that would mean that I would choose the map. So I would get like a good position where I'm in a strong position, in a strong flank with most of my stuff, and then getting stuff like the Giant on the weak flank just to be annoying, and then getting my strong half of the table pushing him. I think could be another decent game plan. Here what would be nice is to play second and adapt to his deployment to basically delay engagement. But I think, yeah, a more open battle where we face each other is also doable for me. It's a bit riskier, I think, here, and the odds are not slightly in his favor, I have the feeling. So that's basically the way I would use to, yeah, put me in a better position and delay a little bit the engagement, the time that I get rid of the left flank, establish a strong position here, and basically then engage with a super amount of unit. Guys, I think that's all for what I wanted to tell you about this game. So that's how I would expect it to go, more or less. We will see what my opponent will do. Maybe we'll take a totally different approach. We will see. I will try to, I think, yeah, cause him problems. I think that's the idea. When you are in this type of matchup, it's really nice to start on the opposite way than your opponent starts, to basically make himself ask question, how I'm going to do, what I'm going to leave on this part of the map, and so on. That's something that you definitely can use if you are placing second on a marching column. So something to keep in mind. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, and soon will be the battle reports. Bye bye.